so you've got this book, Get Trump, and of course I know you've had a lot of thoughts about the current case in New York.
Yeah.
What have you seen? We've now had a few days. We've seen, of course, what Alan Bragg has come out with. What's been your reaction?
Well, he labored mightily and produced a mouse called Mickey. It's a Mickey Mouse case. There's nothing to it. Let me give you the theory of the misdemeanor prosecution before we even get to the felony. The misdemeanor prosecution is that Donald Trump paid $130,000 to assure that a woman, Stormy Daniels, didn't reveal her allegation that she committed adulterous sex with Donald Trump. The purpose of the payment was to keep it quiet. Bragg says, however, he then should have put it in his public corporate forms describing exactly why he paid $130,000. Has anybody ever in the history of hush money or non-disclosure agreements ever then disclosed the reason? From the time Alexander Hamilton paid hush money to Mrs. Reynolds back in the 18th century, nobody has ever revealed the reason for doing it. Hamilton eventually did it because he was extorted again, claiming the money came from Treasury funds. But in general, when you pay hush money, the reason is to keep it quiet. But Bragg says, no, if you pay hush money, you then have to disclose it on corporate forms. I've challenged him to find a single case in history where anybody has been prosecuted for failure to disclose the reasons or the basis for a hush money payment. He can't do it. And he looked in the camera and said, oh, this is our bread and butter. We do this all the time. No, you don't. You never do it. It's never done. You invented this crime. What happened is he ran for office promising to get Trump. You know, my title, Get Trump, is not so creative or original. It comes from the campaigns of Letitia James, the Attorney General, and Bragg, the district attorney. He promised to get them. He gets elected. He then rummages through the statutes. He can't find anything. So he says, I'm not going to get them. My predecessors didn't get him. I'm not going to get him. His assistants quit. New Yorkers have a backlash. They attack him. They're furious. The New York Times is critical. And then he changes his mind and says, all right, I'll find something. But he couldn't find anything. So he made it up. Basically, it's a made up, trumped up charge.
What is the danger? What's the potential damage you see in a case like this going forward?
I think Republicans will do the same thing. When they have Republican DAs, they're going to start targeting and going after Democrats. And we're going to get to a system whereby first you find the man and then you discover the crime. And that's what the head of the KGB said to Stalin, show me the man and I'll find you the crime. And it won't apply only to men. It'll apply to women, to men, to people who are political opponents. And what we're seeing is the weaponization of our criminal justice system, which is a terrible, terrible danger to all Americans. Today it's Trump, tomorrow it's a Democrat. Day after tomorrow it's your Uncle Charlie and your niece. And nobody is going to be safe from prosecutors. First, we ought to change the ethical rules. No prosecutor categorically should ever be allowed to run for office on the promise to get somebody. That should be unethical. That should be disbarrable. No prosecutor should ever run on the promise to get anybody.
What about presidents? I know that President Trump, certainly, I'm thinking back to the first election with the law corrupt. Was that just rhetoric? That's a very different situation, obviously.
Well, look, I think it overstates it, to say the law is corrupt. There are corrupt elements within the law, and they can be cured. This is an easy fix. Don't allow prosecutors to run to try to get somebody. Don't allow prosecutors to target people. You must find the crime. Justice Jackson, the greatest attorney general in our history, warned his prosecutors, saying any prosecutor can rummage through the statutes and regulations and find something to blame anybody on. Don't do that. That's not the American way.